I know, the words alone sound intimidating, but trust me, stick around, because this could seriously impact your crypto investments. Whether you're a Bitcoin believer or a total skeptic, understanding this is crucial for being a smart investor. I'm not here to pump or dump anything, just to break down what's going on so you can make informed decisions. So the rumor mill is churning. Some people are whispering that quantum computing spells doom for Bitcoin. Why? Well, let's put it this way. Quantum computers are like supercomputers, on a mega dose of steroids. Think of a regular computer, then multiply its power by like a gazillion. Essentially, these machines can crack complex math problems at warp speed. And what is Bitcoin built on? You guessed it, the blockchain, which is basically a chain of incredibly complicated math problems. Normally, these problems are so tough that no regular computer can solve them fast enough to hack the system. Think of Bitcoin as a super secure fortress protected by a mind-boggling puzzle. But, and this is a big but, what if quantum computers get so advanced that they can solve those puzzles? That's the fear. In plain English, it means a hacker with a quantum computer could potentially break into your wallet and drain your precious Bitcoin. Gone. Poof. Now, before you panic sell everything, let's get real. Quantum computing isn't quite there yet. It's still in its early stages. Plus, many Bitcoin proponents argue that even if quantum computers do become that powerful, Bitcoin has defenses in place, quantum-resistant safeguards, if you will. So to really understand the potential threat, we need to dive into three key areas. What is quantum computing and how does it work? How could quantum computing potentially break the blockchain? What happens if the blockchain is breached? So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's break this down. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more crypto explainers. Okay, let's start with the basics. To grasp quantum computing, we need to understand how it differs from the computers we use every day. The key difference lies in something called a bit versus a qubit. Think of a regular computer bit like a light switch. It can be either on, 1, or off, 0. It can only do one thing at a time. Qubits, on the other hand, are like having magical light switches. They can be on, off, or both at the same time. This is called superposition, and it's what gives quantum computers their incredible power. Imagine you're trying to find the best route through a maze. A regular computer has to try each path one by one. A quantum computer with qubits can explore all the paths simultaneously, but it gets even wilder. You can link qubits together, and when you do, their power multiplies exponentially. It's like adding more lanes to a highway. The more lanes you have, the more cars or math problems you can process at once. Let me give you an example to put this into perspective. You've probably heard of a 128-bit computer. They're pretty common nowadays. Now let's compare that to a hypothetical 128-qubit computer. The 128-bit computer solves one math problem at a time. The 128-qubit computer can tackle 2 to the power of 128 math problems at the same time. That's a number so big it's practically unimaginable. We're talking a 1 with 36 zeros after it. In practical terms, a problem that would take a regular computer billions of years to solve could potentially be cracked by a 128-qubit computer in a matter of seconds. Like finding a needle in a haystack in the blink of an eye. See how this starts to get scary for something like Bitcoin? Now you can see why this creates possible threats for things like potentially blockchain. So hopefully that lays the groundwork and you can understand quantum computing is much more powerful than normal computers. Okay, now that we've laid the groundwork for what quantum computing is, okay, let's get real. Imagine quantum computers as the ultimate super-powered math whizzes of the future. These aren't your grandpa's calculators, they're on a whole new level of processing power. And what does this have to do with Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin's blockchain is basically a giant, super complex math puzzle. We're talking a seriously tough nut to crack. For years, everyone thought it was impossible. Like solving this would take a normal computer billions of years, impossible. This very complexity is what secures Bitcoin. If someone were to try and hack Bitcoin using a regular computer, it would take them longer than they'd be alive. The hacker would die. But here's where things get interesting. Enter quantum computing. If these quantum computers get powerful enough, could they potentially solve that impossible math problem and break the blockchain? Dun dun dun! Now, before you start panicking and selling all your Bitcoin, let's break this down. It all comes to this question. How smart does this quantum math solver need to be? Think of it like this. How many brain cells, or qubits as they're officially called, would a quantum computer need to crack the blockchain? I did some digging and what I found was, well, a huge range. Some experts say we'd need a 4,000 qubit computer while others say, wait for it, a 4 million qubit computer. That's a pretty big difference, right? The reason for this massive range is that frankly no one really knows for sure. It's like trying to guess how many grains of sand are on a beach. We simply don't have the means to calculate. But for the sake of argument, let's stick with these expert estimates. The real question is, how long until we actually get there? And where are we today in the world of quantum computing? Well, just recently, in late 2024, Google unveiled Willow, a state-of-the-art quantum chip with 105 qubits. Impressive. So right now, 105 qubits is the top of the line. That's a long way from 4,000, let alone 4 million. Based on where we are today, current quantum technology is nowhere near powerful enough to break the blockchain. So you can breathe a sigh of relief. For now, but the big question remains. Will we ever get there? And if so, when? Well, I found some pretty interesting predictions. Some companies believe we could see 1 million qubit computers within the next decade. And IBM even put out a report claiming they'll have a 1 million qubit chip by 2030. Now, whether they hit that target or not, who knows? But it looks like we could potentially see a quantum computer powerful enough to cause concern in the not-so-distant future. And just to show you how fast this is all moving, get this. Back in 2019, just 5 years ago, IBM was celebrating a 53-qubit chip. Now, Google has a 105 and IBM is talking about 1 million by 2030. It's crazy. So technology isn't just accelerating, the rate at which it's accelerating is also accelerating. Mind-blowing, right? Okay, so now you have a better understanding of what quantum computing is and how it could potentially pose a threat to Bitcoin and the blockchain. But let's take it one step further. What happens if quantum computing becomes smart enough to break the blockchain? What would that even look like? All right, back to our hypothetical. Let's say it's 2030, 2035, maybe even 2040, and now we have quantum computers with millions of qubits that are smart enough to solve the blockchain. Then what? That's where the stakes get even higher. Because it wouldn't just be Bitcoin at risk, these quantum computers could potentially pose a threat to our entire financial banking system. You can bet that there would be a whole industry dedicated to fighting these threats, with banks fighting quantum computers with even more powerful quantum computers. Basically a technological arms race. So what can we do? Well, at first glance, you might say the United States government should regulate quantum computing. That way it doesn't end up into the hands of bad people in the United States. That way your Bitcoin is protected and that blockchain doesn't get broken into, and sure, the United States government could do that, and they might do that, but that doesn't mean that somebody in China won't do that, or that China will not regulate against that, and we know that Bitcoin is not just the United States thing, it's a global thing, so you still have a threat there. This is where I don't want to get too technical, but Bitcoin Cell, the blockchain, has two different locks. Two different encryptions, SH-256 and ECD-SAY-256. These are abbreviations. You don't have to worry about what these are, but just understand that these are the locks on Bitcoin. These are the math problems that would have to be solved, and if these were to be solved by quantum computing with a super smart quantum computer, which I guess is theoretically possible if you have a 1 million or multi-million qubit computer, which I guess is possible at some point. If that does happen, then you would be potentially seeing these locks being unlocked, which could break the blockchain and allow people to hack into Bitcoin. So you know how Bitcoin is super secure, right? It uses this thing called blockchain, which is basically a super complex chain of mathematical problems. Think of it like the world's toughest lock. It would take a regular computer billions of years to crack it. But here's where it gets interesting. Enter quantum computers. These aren't your grandma's desktops. We're talking super-powered futuristic machines with potentially millions of qubits, the quantum version of computer bits. Theoretically, if these computers get powerful enough, like maybe a million or multi-million qubit computer, which, let's be real, is still a ways off, they could solve these crazy complex math problems way faster than a normal computer. If that happens, bam! The blockchain could theoretically be hacked and someone could steal Bitcoin, right? Kinda scary, right? Well, don't panic just yet, because Bitcoin's creators are pretty smart cookies. It's like they anticipated this. My research shows that Bitcoin has a fail-safe. Imagine this. If a quantum computer does somehow break through the first line of defense, Bitcoin can automatically create a new quantum-resistant lock. Think of it like this. You have a regular lock on your front door, and a super thief figures out how to pick it. You don't just leave it like that, do you? No. You install a fancy, high-tech security system that's almost impossible to crack. That's essentially what Bitcoin does, but here's where it gets even more mind-bending. If we build an even smarter quantum computer, one that can crack the quantum-resistant lock, how long until that problem is solved? It becomes this constant arms race between the code makers and the code breakers. It's all a game of math. The blockchain is a complex mathematical problem, and these computers are just super fast math solvers. The people who designed Bitcoin and the blockchain are trying to create that math problem. If the problem solvers, quantum computers, start growing significantly faster than the problem creators, Bitcoin developers improving the blockchain, then we have a potential risk. But honestly, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like anything we need to be losing sleep over right now. It's more of a long-term thing to keep an eye on. So, what do you think? Are you worried about quantum computers hacking Bitcoin? Let me know in the comments below. If you're a quantum computing enthusiast, I want to hear from you. Why or why not? I'd love to get your perspective on this. Speaking of managing your finances, that reminds me. Let's say that you have no money in case your car breaks down and you have no money to pay for health insurance or to invest. Then you can start to see the problem. It's not your income that will determine if you will become wealthy or not. It's what you do with your income. If you like this video and want me to dive into more complex tech and finance topics, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.